Maya Chen's life is falling apart so spectacularly that she's actually impressed with herself. Like, this level of failure takes real commitment. She's sitting on her couch at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, wearing the same pajamas she's had on for 3 days, staring at an official letter that might as well be written in flashing neon lights. Kicked out of college again. Third time's the charm, right? Except charm implies some kind of magical luck, and Maya's pretty sure the universe has it out for her personally. The letter is from Westfield Community College. Not Harvard, not even a state school. Community college. And they still don't want her. The reason listed is chronic non-attendance, which sounds way more dramatic than Maya forgot she was enrolled and spent most of the semester binge-watching reality TV. But wait, it gets worse. Her phone buzzes with a text from her mom. Family dinner tonight, 6 p.m. Don't even think about making excuses. Maya groans and lets her head fall back against the couch cushions. Family dinner means facing her parents' disappointed faces and her brother Sam's passive-aggressive success stories. Sam who graduated valedictorian, Sam who got a full ride to Stanford, Sam who probably emerged from the womb with a 5-year plan and proper time management skills. She glances at her coffee table, which is currently serving as a filing system for takeout menus, unpaid bills, and job applications she started but never finished. There's also a stack of self-help articles Sam keeps leaving around like motivational landmines. Today's selection includes 25 Habits of Highly Successful People and How to Stop Being Your Own Worst Enemy. Thanks, Sam. Really feeling the love. Her phone rings. It's her landlord. She lets it go to voicemail because she already knows what he's going to say, and she's not ready to deal with the rent situation. Or any situation, really. She's perfected the art of avoiding her problems. It's like her superpower, except instead of saving the world, it's slowly destroying her life one ignored responsibility at a time. The apartment around her tells the whole sad story. Dishes piled in the sink that she keeps promising herself she'll wash tomorrow. Laundry basket overflowing because the laundromat feels like too much effort. Empty pizza boxes stacked like a shrine to her complete inability to adult properly. But here's the thing that really gets her. She's not even upset about it anymore. She's reached that zen state of rock bottom where everything is terrible, but at least it's consistently terrible. There's something weirdly comforting about having zero expectations to disappoint. Her phone buzzes again. Another text from her mom. Bring your appetite and your job applications. She stares at the message and feels that familiar weight in her chest. The one that shows up whenever she thinks about all the ways she's letting everyone down. Her parents worked 2 jobs each to put both their kids through school. Sam grabbed that opportunity and ran with it. Maya grabbed it and then apparently forgot where she put it. She scrolls through her contacts and stops at her best friend Jess's number. Jess, who moved to Seattle after graduation and is now doing something important with marketing and social media. Jess, who sends her job listings with little heart emojis and messages like, "This one screams Maya." Except nothing screams Maya. Maya whispers at best. The afternoon sun is streaming through her blinds, highlighting the dust particles floating in the air like tiny reminders of all the things she should be cleaning. She watches them dance for a while, because even dust particles have more direction than she does right now. Her stomach growls, reminding her that cereal for lunch might not have been the most nutritious choice. She contemplates getting up to check the fridge, but she already knows what she'll find. Expired yogurt, takeout container she's afraid to open, and maybe some condiment packets from her last food delivery. Maya closes her eyes and tries to remember when everything started going wrong. Was it when she changed her major for the 3rd time? When she realized she had no idea what she wanted to do with her life? Or was it earlier, in high school, when everyone else seemed to have this internal GPS that pointed toward success, while hers just kept spinning in circles? The worst part is, she's not even sure she wants to fix it anymore. Change requires effort, and effort requires caring, and caring means risking disappointment. Maya's gotten really good at not caring about things. It's safer that way. Her laptop sits closed on the coffee table, probably dead because she forgot to charge it. Again. There are probably important emails waiting for her. Job rejections, payment reminders, maybe even an opportunity she'll miss because she can't be bothered to check her messages regularly. But that's tomorrow Maya's problem. Today Maya is just trying to survive until family dinner without having a complete emotional breakdown. She picks up the remote and scrolls through Netflix, looking for something mindless to watch until she has to face the music. Something that doesn't require thinking or feeling or acknowledging that she's a 22-year-old adult who still doesn't have her life figured out. Then she sees it. A piece of paper on the floor by her door. Someone must have slipped it underneath while she was wallowing. Maya stares at it for a full minute, debating whether retrieving it counts as productivity or just prolonging the inevitable. Finally, curiosity wins. She gets up and grabs the flyer. Full moon conditioning, it reads in bold letters. Discover your true nature. Life-changing transformation guaranteed. Midnight sessions in Millbrook Forest. Maya snorts. Midnight fitness classes in the woods? Who comes up with this stuff? It's probably one of those expensive boutique workout things where rich people pay ridiculous money to do yoga surrounded by trees while pretending to be connected to nature. But then she notices something else at the bottom. Free trial class tonight. No experience necessary. All fitness levels welcome. Free! The magic word in Maya's vocabulary. She looks around her disaster of an apartment, thinks about facing her family in 3 hours, and makes a decision that's either incredibly stupid or the first smart thing she's done in months. She's going to sign up for Midnight Forest Fitness. Not because she believes it'll change her life, not because she's suddenly motivated to become a better person, but because showing up to family dinner with evidence that she's trying something new might buy her a few weeks of reduced disappointment from her parents. Maya grabs a pen from the coffee table debris and fills out the contact information at the bottom of the flyer. She takes a picture with her phone and sends a text to the number listed. Sign me up for tonight's class. The response comes back almost immediately. Welcome to your transformation. Meet at the old oak tree entrance at 11:45 p.m. Wear comfortable clothes. Come alone. Come alone? Maya raises her eyebrow. That's either very spiritual or very serial killer-ish. But at this point, she figures even getting murdered might be more exciting than her current life trajectory. She sets an alarm on her phone for 11 p.m. and settles back into the couch. Tonight, she's going to stumble around in the woods with a bunch of wellness enthusiasts and pretend to discover her inner strength or whatever. Tomorrow, she'll probably regret it. But that's tomorrow Maya's problem. Today, Maya just needs to make it through family dinner with something resembling hope, even if it's borrowed from a sketchy fitness flyer. What could possibly go wrong?
Family dinner goes exactly as expected, which is to say it's a master class in polite disappointment with a side of leftover guilt. Maya's mom keeps asking about her plans, which is code for please tell me you have some direction in your life. Her dad makes concerned faces while passing the rice, and Sam, because he's apparently incapable of reading a room, spends the entire meal talking about his new promotion and how excited he is about his 5-year career trajectory. By the time Maya escapes, she's actually looking forward to stumbling around in the woods with strangers. At least trees don't judge your life choices. She drives to Millbrook Forest in her beat-up Honda, which makes concerning noises that she's been ignoring for 6 months because car repairs require money and decision-making skills. The radio plays some pop song about living your best life, and Maya turns it off because even the universe is being passive-aggressive tonight. The forest entrance is exactly as creepy as you'd expect for a midnight fitness class. There's an old oak tree that looks like it's been there since dinosaurs roamed the earth, and a handful of cars parked along the dirt road. Maya counts maybe 15 vehicles, which means she's not the only person desperate enough to try mysterious woodland workouts. She grabs her water bottle and locks her car, then immediately checks the handle 3 times because anxiety brain never sleeps. The first thing she notices walking toward the oak tree is the people.
And by people, she means they look like they stepped out of some kind of historical drama. Everyone's wearing flowing clothes in earth tones, and there's a lot of dramatic eye makeup happening. Maya glances down at her old yoga pants and oversized hoodie and wonders if she missed a memo about dress code. "You must be Maya," says a woman who appears beside her like she materialized from the shadows. Maya jumps about 3 feet in the air. "Jesus, you scared me." The woman smiles, and her teeth look unusually sharp in the moonlight. "I'm Luna. Welcome to full moon conditioning." Luna is gorgeous in that intimidating way that makes Maya immediately want to hide behind a tree. She's got long dark hair, perfect bone structure, and the kind of confidence that suggests she's never spent an entire day in pajamas eating cereal. "So, what exactly do we do here?" Maya asks, following Luna deeper into the forest where the other participants are gathering. "You'll see," Luna says mysteriously. "Tonight's about awakening your true nature." Okay, that's either very zen or very cultish. Maya's hoping for zen, but preparing for cultish. They reach a clearing where about 30 people are standing in a circle around a bonfire that definitely wasn't there when Maya drove up. The flames are huge, casting dancing shadows that make everyone look like they're performing in some kind of ancient ritual, which it turns out they basically are. A tall man with silver hair steps into the center of the circle. He's wearing robes that probably cost more than Maya's rent, and he has the kind of presence that makes you want to stand up straighter even if you're not sure why. "Welcome, seekers," he says in a voice that carries across the clearing without him having to raise it. "Tonight, under the full moon's blessing, you will discover what lies dormant within you." Maya looks up. The moon is definitely full and bright enough to read by, which is pretty cool. She's starting to think maybe this won't be completely terrible. "We begin with the ancient movements. Let your body remember what your mind has forgotten." The participants around the circle start moving, and Maya realizes this is definitely not yoga. They're performing what looks like a cross between interpretive dance and martial arts, all flowing motions and graceful steps that seem to follow some pattern Maya doesn't recognize. She tries to copy what everyone else is doing, but she's about as graceful as a drunk giraffe on ice skates. While everyone else flows like water, Maya stumbles like she's wearing flippers. "Feel the power of the earth beneath your feet. Let it rise through your body." Maya feels nothing except slightly out of breath and increasingly convinced she doesn't belong here. These people move like they've been doing this their whole lives. She moves like she learned to walk yesterday. But here's the weird thing. Even though she's terrible at whatever they're doing, she starts to relax. There's something hypnotic about the firelight and the synchronized movement. Her mind, which usually runs at about 1,000 thoughts per minute, starts to quiet down. "Now," the man says, his voice taking on an almost hypnotic quality, "embrace your inner beast. Let it surface. Let it breathe." The participants around the circle start making low, rhythmic sounds, not quite humming, not quite chanting. Maya tries to join in, but mostly sounds like she's having an allergic reaction. "Don't think," Luna whispers from beside her. "Just feel." Maya closes her eyes and tries to just feel, whatever that means. What she feels is hungry and tired, and like she'd kill for a cheeseburger right about now. Actually, thinking about food makes her stomach growl so loud that the person next to her turns to look. Maya's face burns with embarrassment, but she keeps moving because everyone else is still moving, and she doesn't want to be the first one to break. "Release your human limitations," the man calls out. "Accept what you were born to become." The movements are getting more intense now, more primal. People are throwing their heads back and moving with an abandon that Maya's never felt in her entire life. She tries to copy them, tries to let herself get caught up in whatever's happening here. And something weird starts to happen. The firelight seems brighter, the sounds around her seem richer, more complex. She can smell things she's never smelled before. earth and pine, and something wild and electric in the air. Yes, the silver-haired man says, and Maya realizes he's looking directly at her. I can feel your power awakening. Power? Maya almost laughs. The only power she's ever had is the ability to avoid responsibility and binge watch entire TV seasons without getting bed sores. But then the man raises his arms, and everyone in the circle does the same. Maya lifts her arms too, and something surges through her body like lightning made of pure energy. The sensation is incredible. It's like every cell in her body just woke up after a lifetime of sleep. She feels connected to everything. The fire, the forest, the people around her, the earth beneath her feet. Accept the gift, the man says, his voice seeming to come from everywhere at once. Let it flow through you. Maya doesn't know what gift he's talking about, but she's not about to argue with whatever's happening to her right now. For the first time in months, maybe years, she feels alive. She feels powerful. She feels like she could do anything. The energy builds and builds until Maya thinks she might explode from the sheer intensity of it. Just when she's sure she can't take any more, the man speaks one final time. Welcome your true nature. Become who you were always meant to be. The world explodes into light and sensation. Maya feels like she's flying and drowning and being struck by lightning all at the same time. Every nerve in her body is on fire, but it's the most incredible feeling she's ever experienced. Then everything goes black. Maya comes to slowly, like swimming up from the deepest sleep of her life. She's lying on the ground and the fire has burned down to embers. The other participants are gone, except for Luna, who's kneeling beside her with a concerned expression. How do you feel? Luna asks. Maya takes inventory. She feels amazing, actually. Better than she's felt in years. Stronger, more alert, more alive, like someone just upgraded her entire operating system. I feel great, she says, sitting up. What happened? Did I pass out? Luna helps her to her feet, studying her face with an intensity that makes Maya uncomfortable. Something like that, Luna says carefully. Maya, I need to ask you something important. Have you ever experienced anything unusual before? Dreams about running through forests? Unusual strength? Heightened senses? Maya shakes her head. No, nothing like that. I'm about as ordinary as they come. Luna's expression grows more troubled. That's concerning. Why is that concerning? Isn't ordinary good? Not when you just absorbed power from 30 werewolves, Luna says quietly. Maya blinks. I'm sorry, what now? This wasn't a fitness class, Maya. This was a pack initiation ritual. And somehow, instead of transforming into one of us, you took power from all of us. Maya stares at her for a long moment, then starts laughing. She can't help it. The whole situation is so ridiculous that laughter is the only sane response. Werewolves, she says between giggles. Right, and I'm supposed to believe that I just accidentally joined a werewolf pack because I thought you were doing midnight CrossFit? Luna's expression doesn't change. Maya, you need to listen to me very carefully. You're in danger. We're all in danger. What you did tonight, it's never happened before. Maya's laughter dies in her throat. Luna looks absolutely serious, and there's something in her eyes that makes Maya's newly awakened instincts sit up and pay attention. You're not joking, Maya says slowly. I'm not joking. Maya looks around the clearing, at the dying embers of the fire, at Luna's concerned face, at her own hands, which look completely normal, but somehow feel different. So what happens now? She asks. Luna takes a deep breath. Now, you go home, get some sleep, and tomorrow someone is going to come find you to explain everything. Someone? Our Alpha, Kieran Blackwood. Luna's expression grows even more serious. And Maya, when he shows up, don't run. Running will only make things worse. Maya nods numbly. She feels like she should be panicking, but instead she just feels weirdly calm, Like some part of her has been waiting her whole life for something exactly this strange to happen. She walks back to her car in a daze, her mind reeling with everything Luna just told her. Werewolves, pack initiation, Alpha named Kieran Blackwood. Maya starts her car and drives home through the empty streets, trying to process what just happened. Part of her wants to dismiss the whole thing as some kind of elaborate prank or shared hallucination, but she can't ignore the way her body feels different now. Stronger, more aware, like someone just turned up the volume on all her senses. When she gets home, Maya falls into bed still wearing her clothes, too exhausted to care about proper nighttime routines. As she drifts off to sleep, she tells herself that in the morning, this will all seem like a weird dream. She's wrong, of course, but that's tomorrow Maya's problem. Tonight, Maya sleeps deeper and more peacefully than she has in years, while something powerful and dangerous awakens in her blood.
Maya wakes up to her alarm screaming at 7 a.m., which is weird because she definitely didn't set an alarm. She also wakes up feeling like she could run a marathon, climb a mountain, and then maybe rearrange her entire apartment just for fun. This is definitely not normal for Maya, who usually needs at least 3 cups of coffee and a pep talk to convince herself to get out of bed. She sits up and immediately notices something's off. Everything looks sharper, clearer, like someone just upgraded her eyesight to HD. She can see dust particles floating in the air, can make out the individual threads in her curtains, can read the tiny print on her alarm clock from across the room. Okay, that's weird, she mutters, and her own voice sounds different, stronger somehow. Maya swings her legs out of bed and stands up, then immediately sits back down because holy crap, she just moved faster than she's ever moved in her life, like action movie fast. She stares at her hands. They look completely normal, but they feel different, like there's electricity running just under her skin. Deep breaths, Maya, she tells herself. You probably just had a really vivid dream about joining a werewolf pack. That's totally normal. People have weird dreams all the time. Except she can smell things she's never smelled before. Like, she can tell that her upstairs neighbor had bacon for breakfast. And coffee. Colombian, if she's not mistaken. Which is impossible because Maya knows nothing about coffee beyond hot brown liquid that makes me functional. She can also hear conversations from other apartments. Not just mumbles through the walls, but actual words. Mrs. Patterson in 3B is arguing with someone about her cable bill. The college guys next door are planning their weekend party playlist. Maya covers her ears, but it doesn't help. It's like someone turned up the volume on the entire world. Okay, this is definitely not normal, she says, getting up to pace around her room. Except when she takes her first step, she accidentally launches herself halfway across the apartment. Maya crashes into her bookshelf, sending books flying everywhere. She tries to catch them, but her reflexes are so fast that she accidentally swats them across the room instead. What the hell is happening to me? She looks down at her hands again, flexes her fingers. They still look like regular human hands, but when she tentatively touches her nightstand, her fingers leave dents in the wood. Maya stares at the dented furniture for a full minute, trying to process what she's seeing. Either she's having the most realistic hallucination in human history, or Luna wasn't joking about the werewolf thing. Her phone buzzes with a text from her mom. How did your new fitness class go? Hope you're feeling energized. Energized. Right. That's one way to put it. Maya tries to text back, but she accidentally crushes her phone screen the moment she touches it. The entire device crumples in her hand like it's made of paper. No, she says, trying to unfold the destroyed phone. I can't afford a new phone. I can barely afford ramen. She stares at the twisted metal and plastic in her palm.
This is not a stress-induced hallucination. This is really happening. Maya carefully sets down the remains of her phone and tries to think logically. Last night, she went to what she thought was a fitness class. According to Luna, it was actually some kind of werewolf ritual, and now she apparently has superhuman strength. Okay, she says out loud, trying to stay calm. If we say, hypothetically, that werewolves are real, and I accidentally joined a pack, what does that mean exactly? She tries to remember everything she knows about werewolves from movies and TV shows. Super strength, enhanced senses, turning into a wolf during full moons. The enhanced senses part is definitely happening. The super strength is obviously a thing now too. But it's not a full moon anymore. And she doesn't feel any urge to howl at anything or hunt small woodland creatures. She mostly just feels hungry and confused. Maya walks to her kitchen, being very careful to move slowly and not touch anything too hard. She opens the refrigerator and winces at the smell. Her enhanced nose is not appreciating the mystery leftover situation she's got going on in there. She grabs a yogurt container, checks the expiration date, and immediately drops it when she realizes she can read the tiny print from 3 feet away. The container hits the floor and explodes, covering her feet in expired strawberry yogurt. Great! Perfect. This is exactly what my life needed. As she's cleaning up the mess, being very careful not to tear the paper towels or break the floor, Maya hears footsteps in the hallway outside her apartment. Heavy footsteps. And she can smell something else now. Something wild and dangerous that makes all her new instincts sit up and pay attention. Someone knocks on her door. Not a normal knock either. This is the kind of authoritative knock that belongs to someone who expects to be let in immediately. Maya freezes, paper towel in hand, yogurt still covering her floor. Luna said someone would come find her today, someone named Kieran Blackwood. The knock comes again, more insistent this time. Maya Chen, says a voice through the door. It's deep, commanding, and has an accent she can't quite place. I know you're in there. We need to talk. Maya doesn't answer. She's too busy having a small panic attack while covered in expired dairy products. Maya, the voice is patient but firm. Last night you participated in a pack bonding ritual. You need to understand what that means. Go away, Maya calls out, finally finding her voice. I don't want to talk about werewolf stuff. I just wanted to try a fitness class. There's a pause. Then, to Maya's horror, she hears the door handle turning. She definitely locked that door. She always locks her door. She's paranoid about home security because she watches too many true crime documentaries. The door opens and Maya gets her first look at Kieran Blackwood. Holy crap. He's tall, probably 6'3", with dark hair and eyes that seem to see right through her. He's wearing a black leather jacket and jeans, but somehow he looks like he should be commanding armies or ruling kingdoms. There's something about him that screams authority and danger and really, really good genetics. He's also the most attractive man Maya has ever seen in real life, which is just unfair given that she's currently standing in her pajamas in a puddle of expired yogurt. Your lock was broken, Kieran says, closing the door behind him. His eyes scan her apartment, taking in the chaos of books scattered everywhere and the yogurt situation on the floor. My lock was not broken, Maya protests. I just used it last night. Kieran holds up a piece of twisted metal that used to be her deadbolt. It is now. Maya stares at the destroyed lock in his hand. Did you just break into my apartment? I knocked first. That doesn't make it legal. Karen looks around her apartment again, and Maya suddenly sees it through his eyes. The disaster zone of takeout containers, unfolded laundry, and general chaos that screams adult who has given up on adulting. She crosses her arms defensively, then immediately uncrosses them when she realizes she might accidentally flex too hard and rip her sleeves off. Look, she says, trying to sound more confident than she feels. I don't know what Luna told you, but I think there's been some kind of mistake. I'm not werewolf material. I can barely handle being human. Karen's expression doesn't change. Show me your hands. What? Your hands. Let me see them. Maya reluctantly holds out her hands and Kieran steps closer to examine them. The moment he touches her, Maya feels like she's been struck by lightning. Not painful lightning, the good kind that makes every nerve ending in her body wake up and pay attention. Karen's eyes widen slightly as he turns her hands over, steadying her palms. No claws, he murmurs. No physical changes at all. Is that good or bad? Instead of answering, Karen looks directly into Maya's eyes. Maya, what happened last night should have been impossible. Humans can't absorb pack magic. They can't participate in bonding rituals. They certainly can't take power from 30 werewolves without being torn apart by the energy. Maya swallows hard. But I did? You did. His grip on her hands tightens slightly. Which means you're not entirely human. That's ridiculous. I'm about as human as they come. I have a birth certificate and everything. Birth certificates can be forged. Parentage can be hidden. Karen releases her hands and steps back. Tell me about your family. My family is completely normal. My dad's an accountant, my mom's a teacher, my brother's in graduate school studying genetics. Maya trails off. Wait, why is Sam studying genetics? That's a very good question. Before Maya can process that uncomfortable thought, her apartment door opens again. She definitely locked it after Kieran broke the first lock. She's sure she locked it. Maya! Sam's voice echoes through the apartment. Mom sent me to check on you. She said you seemed weird at dinner last night, and Sam appears in the kitchen doorway and stops dead when he sees Kieran. Who's this? Sam asks, his eyes narrowing. Sam, this is Karen. Kieran, this is my brother Sam. Maya looks back and forth between them. Sam, how did you get in? I locked the door. Sam holds up a key. You gave me a spare, remember? For emergencies? But Maya's enhanced hearing catches something else in Sam's voice. A nervousness that wasn't there before. And his scent. There's something familiar about his scent that she can't quite place. Karen is studying Sam with the same intensity he used on Maya, and Sam is definitely fidgeting under the scrutiny. Sam, Karen says slowly. That's an interesting name for someone with your background. I don't know what you're talking about, Sam says quickly. Too quickly. Maya looks between her brother and Kieran, her new instincts picking up on tension she never would have noticed before. Okay, what's going on? Why are you both acting weird? Well, weirder than usual. Karen and Sam exchange a look that Maya definitely doesn't like. Sam says finally, we need to talk. Maya is pretty sure this is what having a mental breakdown feels like. She's standing in her disaster of a kitchen, covered in expired yogurt, while a ridiculously attractive stranger and her own brother have some kind of telepathic staring contest about her apparently not entirely human heritage. Okay, stop, she says, waving her hands between them. Everyone just stop with the meaningful looks and dramatic pauses. I need someone to explain what's happening in words that make sense. Kieran crosses his arms and looks at Sam expectantly. Well, are you going to tell her or should I? Sam runs a hand through his hair, which is what he does when he's about to deliver news that Maya won't like. He's been doing it since they were kids, usually right before he tattled on her to their parents. Maya, remember how you always said you felt different growing up, like you didn't quite fit in anywhere? Everyone feels like that, Sam. It's called being a teenager. Not like you did. Sam sits down heavily in one of her kitchen chairs, which creaks ominously under his weight. Remember how you could always tell when storms were coming, days before the weather forecast? How you never got sick even when everyone else had the flu? How you could find lost things that no one else could find? Maya frowns. She does remember all of that, but she always just figured she was observant or lucky. That doesn't mean anything supernatural. Some people are just more sensitive to barometric pressure. And the sleepwalking? Sam continues. How you used to disappear from your room in the middle of the night and we'd find you miles away in the woods with no memory of how you got there. That makes Maya pause. The sleepwalking had been a huge problem when she was younger. Her parents took her to doctors, sleep specialists, even a therapist. Nothing worked. She just stopped doing it when she turned 16. That was a medical condition, she says weakly. Was it? Kieran asks. His voice is gentler now, less commanding. Maya, what Sam is trying to tell you is that you've been showing signs of dormant werewolf heritage your entire life. Last night's ritual didn't turn you into something new. It woke up something that was already there. Maya looks back and forth between them. That's impossible. My parents are completely normal humans. I've seen their baby pictures. I know their families. Sam and Kieran exchange another look. Sam, Maya says, her voice getting dangerously quiet. What aren't you telling me? Sam takes a deep breath. Maya, do you remember being adopted? The question hits Maya like a physical blow. What are you talking about? I'm not adopted. We have the same parents. We have the same father, Sam says carefully. But Maya, your mom isn't your biological mother. Maya sits down hard in the other kitchen chair, grateful when it doesn't break under her newly enhanced strength. That's not possible. I look like Mom. Everyone says so. You look like Dad, Sam corrects. You've always looked like Dad. And Maya, Dad's family has some very interesting genetics. What kind of genetics? Maya's voice sounds strange to her own ears. Kieran answers. The kind that skip generations. The kind that can lie dormant for decades before manifesting under the right circumstances.
Maya puts her head in her hands. This is too much information to process at once. Her entire sense of identity is crashing down around her, and she's still covered in yogurt, which feels like adding insult to injury. So, you're telling me, she says slowly, that my entire life has been a lie. I'm part werewolf, and I accidentally joined a pack last night because I thought it was CrossFit? That's surprisingly accurate, Kieran says. Maya looks up at him. And you are? Kieran Blackwood, Alpha of the Shadowmere Pack. As of last night, technically you're Alpha. My Alpha? Maya tests the words. They feel weird in her mouth. What does that mean exactly? It means you're under my protection and my authority. Kieran's expression is unreadable. It also means we have a very big problem. Bigger than finding out my whole life is a supernatural lie? Much bigger. Kieran starts pacing around her small kitchen, which makes the space feel even tinier. Maya, what you did last night has never happened before in recorded werewolf history. You absorbed power from 30 pack members without being harmed by it. Most humans would be dead. Most new werewolves would be insane. Maybe I am insane. Maybe this is all an elaborate hallucination. It's not. Sam reaches over and gently touches her arm. Maya, I've been studying supernatural genetics for 3 years. I've been waiting for signs that our family's legacy might manifest in one of us. Maya stares at her brother. 3 years? You've known about this for 3 years and you never thought to mention it? I hoped it would be me, Sam says quietly. I've been preparing, studying, trying to trigger any dormant abilities, but it never happened. The genes skipped me entirely. Lucky you, Maya says bitterly. Maya. Kieran stops pacing and crouches down in front of her chair so they're eye level. I know this is overwhelming, but you need to understand something important. The power you absorbed last night, it's not stable. Without proper training and guidance, it could kill you. Or worse, it could kill everyone around you. Maya meets his eyes, and again she feels that electric jolt of connection. But this time she also sees something else there. Worry, fear, and something that looks almost like recognition.
What aren't you telling me? Kieran's jaw tightens. The pack bonding ritual doesn't just create random connections, Maya. It reveals existing ones. The fact that you are even able to participate at all, let alone absorb power from the entire pack? He trails off, looking uncomfortable. What? Maya demands. It means you're my mate. Maya blinks. Your what now? Mate, life partner, the other half of my soul. Which is impossible because I've been looking for you for 10 years, and you're supposed to be a werewolf, not a... whatever you are. Maya processes this information. So you're telling me that not only am I part werewolf, but I'm also cosmically destined to be with someone I met 5 minutes ago? Essentially, yes. Maya starts laughing. She can't help it. The whole situation is so absurd that laughter is the only sane response. This is not how I imagined my Thursday going, she says between giggles. Sam looks concerned. Maya, are you okay? No, Sam, I'm definitely not okay. I just found out I'm adopted, part werewolf, and apparently married to the universe's version of Mr. Darcy over here. She gestures at Kieran, who's looking increasingly uncomfortable. We're not married, Kieran says stiffly. Oh, well, that makes it so much better. Kieran's eyes flash. Literally flash, like there are actual golden lights in them. Maya, you need to take this seriously. There are rules in the werewolf world, protocols. The other packs are going to want to know what happened last night. Other packs? There are 7 major packs in this region, Sam explains, clearly having done his research. Kieran's pack is one of the most powerful, but they're not the only ones. And Maya, what you did last night is going to be seen as either a miracle or a threat. Maya's laughter dies away. A threat? You absorbed power from 30 werewolves and suffered no consequences, Kieran says grimly. In the wrong hands, that kind of ability could be used to steal power from entire packs. Some alphas might decide you're too dangerous to live. Maya feels cold suddenly. So what do we do? We train you. Fast. You need to learn control, and you need to learn pack law. The full moon is in 2 weeks. If you can't demonstrate mastery over your abilities by then, what happens? Kieran's expression is grim. The pack council will make a decision about what to do with you. And trust me, Maya, you don't want them making that decision for you. Maya looks around her chaotic kitchen, at her brother who's been lying to her for years, at the impossibly attractive Alpha who apparently thinks he's his destined mate, and the destroyed remains of her phone and her door lock. 24 hours ago, her biggest problem was explaining to her parents why she got kicked out of community college. Now she's part werewolf, cosmically bonded to a stranger, and apparently too dangerous for her own good. Okay, she says finally. Where do we start? Kieran's expression softens slightly. First, we get you some clothes that can handle transformation. Then I take you to meet the pack. The pack that I accidentally stole power from? They'll be fine, Kieran says, though he doesn't sound entirely convinced. Most of them, anyway. Maya stands up, trying to project confidence she doesn't feel. All right, Mr. Alpha, let's go meet your werewolf pack. But first, I'm changing out of these yogurt-covered pajamas. A girl has to have some standards even during a supernatural crisis. As she heads toward her bedroom, she hears Kieran say quietly to Sam, Are you sure she's really your sister? She doesn't seem nearly concerned enough about any of this. Sam's response makes Maya pause in the doorway. Trust me, that's just Maya. She's always been good at pretending everything is fine when her world is falling apart. It's when she stops joking that you need to worry. Maya closes her bedroom door and leans against it, finally allowing herself to feel the full weight of everything that's happened. Her whole life has just been turned upside down. She's not who she thought she was, she's bound to a stranger, and apparently she's powerful enough to be considered a threat to supernatural society. But weirdly, for the first time in months, she doesn't feel lost. She feels like maybe, just maybe, She's finally found where she belongs.
Maya's first thought when Kieran takes her to meet the pack is that werewolves are apparently very attractive people. Her second thought is that they all look like they want to kill her. The pack house is a massive cabin-style building deep in the woods, the kind of place that screams secret supernatural headquarters or really expensive hunting lodge. Maya's betting on the first one, considering everyone inside has been giving her death stares since she walked through the door. "That's her?" asks a woman with short blonde hair and muscles that could probably crush walnuts. "That's the human who stole our power?" "I didn't steal anything," Maya protests. "I thought you were doing interpretive dance." "Interpretive dance," someone mutters. Maya can't tell who, but the tone suggests they're not impressed with her cultural interpretation skills. Kieran places a protective hand on Maya's lower back, which sends that familiar electric jolt through her entire nervous system. She's going to have to get used to that, apparently. "Everyone, this is Maya Chen," Kieran announces to the room full of supernatural predators. "As of last night, she's part of this pack." "She's not one of us," says a tall man with dark hair and a scar running down his left cheek. "She smells human." Maya instinctively sniffs herself. "I showered this morning." The man with the scar is not amused. "That's not what I meant." "Marcus?" Kieran's voice carries a warning. "Maya is under my protection. She's also my mate." The entire room goes dead silent. Maya's pretty sure she could hear a pin drop if pins made any sound when they fell, which she's never actually tested but is now curious about. "Your mate?" The blonde woman looks like someone just told her Santa Claus was real but only delivered coal. "Kieran, she's not even fully transformed." "The bond doesn't lie, Becca," Kieran says firmly. "Whatever Maya is, she's mine." Maya raises her hand. Just for the record, I haven't agreed to be anyone's anything yet. I'm still processing the whole werewolf situation." More stares. "These people really need to work on their social skills." "She doesn't understand pack dynamics," Marcus says, like Maya isn't standing right there. "She can't control her power. She's a liability. Which is why we're going to train her, starting now." And that's how Maya finds herself in the middle of the worst workout montage in history. It turns out that werewolf training involves a lot more running than Maya anticipated. And by running, she means trying not to launch herself into trees at superhuman speed. Her first attempt at a simple jog around the pack territory results in her accidentally running face first into an oak tree. The tree loses. "I'm so sorry," she says to the splintered trunk. "I don't know how to control this yet." Kieran pulls her away from the destroyed tree before she can cause any more environmental damage. "Focus on your breathing. Don't think about speed. Think about control." "Easy for you to say. You've probably been doing this since you could walk." "Since I was 5, Kieran confirms. "But, Maya, you're stronger than most werewolves who've been training for decades. You just need to learn finesse." Finesse. Right. Maya has never been accused of having finesse in her entire life. Her second attempt at jogging goes better, if by better you mean she only destroys 2 smaller trees and accidentally launches herself into the lake. Maya surfaces, sputtering and covered in pond weeds. "This is humiliating." Luna, who's been watching the disaster from a safe distance, actually cracks a smile. "It's not that bad. When I first transformed, I got my head stuck in a fence." "Really?" "Really. Kieran had to call the fire department." Maya looks at Kieran, who has the decency to look embarrassed. "We agreed never to talk about that." "I'm just saying," Luna continues. "Everyone has awkward learning moments. Yours are just more destructive than most." The rest of the morning involves Maya learning to control her enhanced strength, which goes about as well as you'd expect. She accidentally punches a hole through a training dummy, launches a punching bag into the next county, and somehow manages to get her hair tangled in her own fist during a self-defense lesson. "How is that even physically possible?" Becca asks, staring at Maya's hair situation. "I have a gift," Maya says, trying to untangle herself. "And by gift, I mean curse." But here's the weird thing. Even though she's terrible at everything, Maya finds herself having fun for the first time in months, maybe years.
There's something liberating about being physically powerful, even if she can't control it yet. And watching Kieran demonstrate fighting techniques is definitely not a hardship. The man moves like poetry in motion, all fluid grace and controlled strength. Maya tries to copy his movements and ends up looking like she's having some kind of seizure, but she's trying. Your footwork needs work, Kieran says, moving behind her to adjust her stance. His hands on her hips make Maya's brain short-circuit entirely. My footwork needs work, she repeats, because her vocabulary has apparently been reduced to echoing whatever he says when he's touching her. Focus, Maya. Right. Focusing on feet and work. Kieran's mouth quirks up in what might be a smile. Are you always this articulate when you're concentrating? Only when devastatingly attractive werewolf alphas are manhandling me. The words are out of Maya's mouth before she can stop them. Kieran's hands tighten on her hips, and she can feel the tension in his body change. Devastatingly attractive? He asks quietly. Maya's face burns. I meant objectively attractive, like scientifically speaking. You know, symmetrical features and good bone structure. Good bone structure. Excellent bone structure. Really top-tier genetics. Kieran is definitely smiling now. Thank you for the scientific assessment. Before Maya can dig herself deeper into the hole of embarrassment, Marcus interrupts their moment by clearing his throat loudly. If you two are done flirting, we have actual training to do. We weren't flirting. We were definitely flirting. We were? You complimented my bone structure. That was scientific observation. Uh-huh. Kieran's grin is doing things to Maya's internal organs that should probably be illegal.
The afternoon training session involves Maya attempting to transform, which is apparently a lot more complicated than just thinking really hard about being a wolf. Feel the shift in your bones, Luna instructs. Let your human form fall away. Maya closes her eyes and tries to feel shifty. All she feels is confused. Nothing's happening, she says. Try thinking about something that makes you emotional, Kieran suggests. Strong emotions can trigger transformation. Maya thinks about her parents' disappointment when she got kicked out of college. Nothing happens. She thinks about her destroyed phone and the bills she can't pay. Still nothing. She thinks about Kieran getting hurt because of her inexperience, and suddenly every bone in her body feels like it's on fire. There, Luna says excitedly. I can smell the change starting. But instead of transforming into a wolf, Maya's power surges outward in a wave that knocks everyone in a 10-foot radius flat on their backs. Sorry, Maya says, helping Kieran up. I didn't mean to do that. Kieran looks dazed. Maya, what exactly were you thinking about? Nothing important, she says quickly, because admitting she was imagining him in danger feels way too intimate for their current situation. It had to be something important, Marcus says, picking himself up off the ground. That power surge was massive. I was just worried about letting everyone down. It's not technically a lie, but it's not the whole truth either. And from the way Kieran looking at her, she's pretty sure he knows it. The rest of the day continues in the same vein. Maya trying to learn supernatural skills and accidentally destroying everything around her. By evening, she's exhausted, frustrated, and covered in dirt, leaves, and what might be tree sap. I'm hopeless, she says, collapsing on a fallen log. I can't control anything. I'm going to get someone killed. Kieran sits down beside her, careful to maintain some distance since Maya's power seems to surge whenever he gets too close. You're not hopeless, he says. You're undertrained. There's a difference. Is there, though? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like I'm a walking disaster. Maya. Kieran's voice is gentle, but firm. 3 days ago, you didn't even know werewolves existed. Today, you managed to run without hitting any trees for almost 5 minutes straight. That's supposed to be encouraging?
It's supposed to be realistic. You're learning faster than anyone has a right to expect. Maya looks at him sideways. Are you just saying that because you're cosmically obligated to be nice to me? I'm saying it because it's true. And Maya, the mate bond doesn't create feelings. It just reveals them. I'm not being nice to you because I have to. I'm being nice to you because I want to. Maya's heart does something complicated in her chest. Oh. They sit in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the sunset through the trees. It's the first peaceful moment Maya's had since this whole supernatural nightmare started. Kieran? She says finally. Yeah? What happens if I can't learn control in time? Kieran is quiet for a long moment. We'll figure it out, he says eventually. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. Together, Maya repeats, testing the word. She's never been part of a together before, at least not one that involved disappointing people she cared about. Together, Kieran confirms. As they walk back to the pack house, Maya realizes something that should probably scare her more than it does. She's starting to trust Kieran Blackwood. She's starting to believe that maybe, just maybe, she's found somewhere she belongs. She's also starting to think that having excellent bone structure might be the least attractive thing about him. But that's a problem for tomorrow. Tonight, she just wants to collapse into bed and pretend her muscles don't feel like they've been hit by a truck driven by very angry supernatural creatures. Tomorrow, she'll worry about not accidentally destroying everything she cares about. Tonight, she's just going to be grateful that she made it through her first day of werewolf training without anyone ending up in the emergency room. Although the day is still young.
Maya wakes up in the pack house guest room feeling like she got hit by a truck, then reversed over by the same truck, then possibly used as a chew toy by whatever supernatural creature drives supernatural trucks. Every muscle in her body aches. She has leaves in her hair that she's pretty sure weren't there when she went to bed, and someone is knocking on her door at what her phone would tell her is an ungodly hour if she still had a phone. Maya? It's Luna's voice. We need to talk. Maya groans and rolls out of bed, which is a mistake because she forgot about her enhanced strength and accidentally launches herself across the room into the dresser. Coming, she calls, rubbing her shoulder. Just navigating furniture. She opens the door to find Luna standing in the hallway with 2 cups of coffee and an expression that suggests this conversation is going to be about as fun as yesterday's training session. Coffee? Luna offers. Is it magical werewolf coffee that will make me less of a disaster? No, but it's really strong. I'll take it. They settle into the small sitting area attached to Maya's room, and Luna gets straight to the point. Because apparently, werewolves don't believe in small talk. Maya, we need to discuss the mate bond situation. The what now? You and Kieran, the cosmic connection thing, it's more complicated than he probably explained. He didn't really explain it at all. He just said we're destined to be together and left it at that. Of course he did. Men are useless at relationship conversations, even when the relationship is predetermined by ancient magic. Maya sets down her coffee cup carefully, remembering what happened to her phone. Luna, can I ask you something? Sure. Were you and Kieran together? Yeah, we were. For about 3 years. My stomach does something unpleasant. Oh. It's not what you think, Luna says quickly. We were together because everyone expected us to be. I'm a strong female werewolf. He's the alpha. It made sense politically. But we were never mates. How do you know? Because mate bonds are intense, like earth-shattering, life-changing, can't breathe when they're not around intense. She studies Maya's face. Tell me. What happens when Kieran touches you? I don't know what you mean. Maya. Fine. It's like being struck by lightning, but in a good way. Like every nerve ending in my body suddenly wakes up. And when he's not around?
I think about it. Even now, sitting in my room talking to Luna, I'm aware of exactly where Kieran is in the house. I can sense his mood, his energy, like there's an invisible string connecting us. I can feel him, I admit, even when he's not in the same room. Luna nods. That's a mate bond. What Kieran and I had was comfortable, familiar. What you two have is, she searches for the word, volcanic. Is that good or bad? That depends entirely on what you do with it. Maya pulls her knees up to her chest. Luna, can I be honest about something? Please. I have no idea what I'm doing. 3 days ago, my biggest worry was explaining to my parents why I flunked out of community college. Now I'm apparently some kind of supernatural anomaly who's cosmically bonded to a man I barely know. What scares you more? The supernatural part or the bonded part? I think about it. The bonded part, I say finally. I've never been good at relationships. I get scared and I run. It's kind of my thing. But you haven't run from this. I haven't had time to run from this. Everything's been happening so fast. Luna leans forward. Maya, can I tell you something about mate bonds that Kieran probably won't? Sure. They're actually not destiny. They're potential. Luna's voice is serious now. The bond shows you who you could be with someone, but it doesn't force you to be with them. You still have to choose each other every day. So, I could walk away? You could try. But Maya, mate bonds exist for a reason. They connect people who complement each other, who make each other stronger. Fighting it is like fighting gravity. Possible, but exhausting.
Maya sips her coffee, thinking about Kieran's hands on her hips during training, the way her power seemed to stabilize when he was touching her. There's something else, Luna continues. Your power surges? They're connected to your emotional state, and your emotional state is connected to Kieran. What do you mean? Yesterday, when you knocked everyone down during transformation training, what were you thinking about? Maya's face burns again. Kieran getting hurt. And when your power is most stable? When he's close? Luna nods. The mate bond isn't just romantic, Maya. It's magical. Kieran grounds your power, gives you control. Without that connection, you're dangerous to everyone around you. Maya feels cold, suddenly. So I don't have a choice. I have to be with him or I'm a threat to everyone. That's not what I'm saying. That's what it sounds like you're saying. Luna is quiet for a moment. Maya, do you want to be with Kieran? The question hits Maya like a physical blow. Do she want to be with him? She barely knows him. But when he smiles at her, her entire world feels brighter. When he touches her, she feels like she could conquer anything. When he's not around, she feels incomplete in a way she's never experienced before. I don't know, honestly. I think so, but I don't know if that's me or the bond talking. Does it matter? Of course it matters. What if I only think I like him because of supernatural magic? What if he only thinks he likes me because some ancient ritual told him to? Luna stands up and walks to the window. Maya, let me ask you this. When Kieran looks at you, how does he look at you? I don't know, like he's trying to figure me out. When he looks at you, he looks like a man who's found something he didn't know he was missing. When you look at him, you look terrified and hopeful at the same time. Luna turns back to face her. Those aren't mate bond feelings, Maya. Those are just feelings. Before Maya can respond, there's another knock at the door. Maya? It's Karen's voice. Are you awake? We need to get started with training. Maya and Luna exchange a look. Coming, Maya calls. She turns to Luna. This conversation isn't over. No, it's not. But Maya, whatever you decide about Kieran, decide fast. The pack council meeting is in 10 days, and if you can't demonstrate control over your power,
What happens? Luna's expression is grim. They'll find another way to neutralize the threat you represent. Maya's blood runs cold. They'll kill me? They'll try. Maya opens the door to find Kieran waiting in the hallway, and the moment she sees him, her heart does that fluttering thing that she's starting to associate with his presence. Ready for day 2? He asks, and his smile makes her stomach flip in ways that definitely aren't supernatural. Ready as I'll ever be, she says. But as they walk toward the training area, Maya can't shake Luna's words. She has 10 days to learn control, 10 days to figure out her feelings, 10 days to decide whether she's willing to risk everything for a man she barely knows but can't seem to stop thinking about. And somewhere in the back of her mind, a little voice is whispering that 10 days might not be nearly enough time. But then Kieran takes her hand to help her down the porch steps, and the electric jolt of connection makes every rational thought in her head disappear. Maybe Luna is right. Maybe it doesn't matter if her feelings are real or supernatural. Maybe all that matters is that they feel real to her. Maya? Kieran's voice brings her back to the present. You okay? You look like you're thinking very hard about something. Just processing, she says. You know, the usual existential crisis about my entire life changing overnight. Kieran stops walking and turns to face her. Maya, if this is too much, if you want to walk away, do I have that option? Kieran's expression grows serious. You always have that option. Mate bond or no mate bond, you get to choose your own life. Maya looks into his eyes, searching for any sign that he's lying or trying to manipulate her. All she sees is sincerity and something that looks like fear. Fear that she might actually choose to leave. What if I choose wrong? She asks quietly. Then we deal with the consequences together. There's that word again. Together. Maya takes a deep breath. Okay, let's do this training thing. But Kieran. Yeah? Can we take the whole mate bond thing slow? I know there's some cosmic connection, but I'd like to get to know you as a person before I commit to spending eternity with you. Kieran's smile is soft and genuine. Maya, we can take as much time as you need. Even if it's longer than 10 days? Even if it's longer than 10 days. Maya nods, feeling some of the pressure in her chest ease. She can do this. She can learn to control her power, figure out her feelings, and maybe, just maybe, find her place in this supernatural world. She just hopes 10 days is enough time to figure out which Maya she wants to be. The one who runs from everything, or the one who's finally found something worth staying for. But first, she needs to learn how to transform without destroying half the forest. Baby steps.
Maya is finally starting to get the hang of not destroying everything she touches when her brother Sam shows up at the pack house looking like he hasn't slept in 3 days and carrying what appears to be half a library in a duffel bag. Sam? Maya jogs over from where she was practicing not launching punching bags into orbit. What are you doing here? And why do you look like a caffeinated research zombie? Sam drops the duffel bag with a thud that suggests it's filled with something heavier than clothes. Maya, we need to talk. All of us. He looks around at the pack members who have stopped their own training to stare at him. Privately. Kieran appears beside Maya with that silent way he has of moving. She's getting used to it, mostly because the alternative is jumping 3 feet in the air every time he materializes out of nowhere. Sam, Kieran nods. You look concerned. Concern doesn't begin to cover it. Sam runs a hand through his hair, which is doing that stress thing where it sticks up in 12 different directions. I've been researching our family history since Maya's awakening. What I found is either really good news or really, really bad news. Hit me with the bad news first, Maya says, because she's learned that getting the worst part over with
usually makes everything else seem manageable by comparison. Sam opens his duffel bag and starts pulling out what looks like a combination of ancient books, printed research papers, and manila folders that have seen better days. The bad news is that our family isn't just connected to werewolves. We're connected to something much older and much more powerful. Kieran's entire body goes still, in that predator way that Maya is learning means he's either very interested or very dangerous, possibly both. What kind of connection? Kieran asks. Sam pulls out a leather-bound book that looks like it should be in a museum, not in a college student's backpack. Have you ever heard of the conduits? The what now? Maya asks, but Kieran's sharp intake of breath suggests this is not good news. Conduits are myth, humans who could channel and amplify supernatural power. They haven't existed for over 200 years. Yeah, well, apparently they didn't all die out. Sam opens the ancient book to a page marked with about 15 different bookmarks. Maya, look at this. Maya peers at the page, which is covered in faded text that looks like it was written with a quill pen. There's also a detailed drawing of a family tree that stretches back what looks like centuries. I can't read any of this. Is it in Latin? Old English, actually, but look at the names. Sam points to a section of the family tree. Chen. Our father's family name goes back 12 generations in this book. Maya squints at the faded writing. Okay, so our family is old. That doesn't necessarily mean anything supernatural. Maya. Sam's voice is patient in that way that means he's about to drop a bombshell. This book is called The Registry of Conduit Bloodlines. It's a record of every family line that carried the genetic markers for supernatural power channeling. Maya looks at the book, then at Sam, then at Kieran, who's reading over her shoulder and looking increasingly tense. So you're saying I'm not just part werewolf, I'm part what? Magic battery? More like a supernatural amplifier. Conduits could take power from multiple supernatural sources and channel it without being damaged by the energy. They could also share that power with others, creating temporary bonds and enhanced abilities. Kieran straightens up. Sam, if Maya is a true conduit, that changes everything. Why? Is that good or bad? Both, Kieran says grimly. Conduits were incredibly powerful, but they were also incredibly rare. Most supernatural communities believed they were extinct. Well, surprise, Maya says weakly. Apparently reports of our extinction were greatly exaggerated. Sam pulls out another folder, this one filled with what looks like medical records and scientific papers. It gets weirder. Maya, do you remember all those medical tests Mom and Dad took you for when you were younger? The sleep studies, the neurological workups, the genetic testing? Maya nods. She'd spent half her childhood in doctors' offices, getting poked and prodded because of her sleepwalking, in what her parents called unusual sleep patterns. They wanted random tests, Sam continues. Dad specifically requested genetic screening for supernatural markers. Maya's world tilts slightly. What? Dad knew, Maya. He's known what you might be since you were born. That's impossible. Dad's completely normal. He gets excited about tax season and falls asleep watching golf. He's the least supernatural person on the planet. Sam pulls out a photograph from the folder. It's old, black and white, and shows a man who looks remarkably like their father standing next to a woman Maya doesn't recognize. This is Dad's grandfather, Thomas Chen. And this, Sam points to the woman, is his wife, Elena Blackwood. Maya looks at the photograph, then at Kieran. Blackwood? Kieran takes the photograph, studying it intently. Elena was my great-great-grandmother. She disappeared in 1923, right after she married a human man against the pack's wishes. Maya feels like someone just rearranged all the furniture in her brain while she wasn't looking. So you're saying that not only am I a conduit, but I'm also actually related to Kieran? Distantly, Sam clarifies. Very distantly, like so distant it doesn't count for genetic purposes. But it explains the meat bond, Kieran says quietly. Elena was incredibly powerful, even by werewolf standards. If she passed those genes to her human descendants, they might manifest generations later in someone with the right combination of genetic markers, someone like Maya. Maya sits down hard on a nearby log. So let me get this straight. I'm not adopted, but I am descended from a powerful werewolf who ran away with a human man. I'm also part of an ancient bloodline of supernatural power conduits that everyone thought was extinct, and I'm cosmically bonded to my very distant werewolf cousin. That's, surprisingly accurate, Sam says. This is insane, Maya says. This is absolutely insane. It gets worse, Sam says, because apparently he's determined to completely destroy Maya's grip on reality. How can it possibly get worse? Sam pulls out a newspaper clipping that looks recent. I found this in the supernatural community forums I've been monitoring. 3 other conduits have awakened in the past 6 months. 1 in Scotland, 1 in Japan, and 1 in Brazil. Kieran reads over Maya's shoulder as she studies the article. They're all dead, he says flatly. What? Maya looks up from the clipping. All 3 conduits mentioned in this article died within weeks of their abilities manifesting, officially from mysterious circumstances. Maya's blood runs cold. Mysteriously how? Power overload. Their abilities became unstable and they essentially burned out from the inside. Maya looks around at the pack members who have been pretending not to eavesdrop on their conversation. Everyone is looking at her with expressions that range from concerned to terrified. So you're telling me that I'm part of an extinct bloodline. I have powers that killed the last 3 people who had them, and everyone in the supernatural world is going to want me either dead or under their control? That's the bad news, Sam says. What's the good news?
Sam grins for the first time since he arrived. The good news is that you're not dead yet, which means you might be the key to figuring out how conduits can survive in the modern supernatural world. That's the good news? Also, Sam continues, I've been in contact with a network of supernatural researchers who specialize in bloodline genetics. They think they might know how to help you stabilize your power. Kieran looks skeptical. What kind of help? Training. Real training, not just werewolf basics. There's apparently a facility in northern Canada where they study supernatural genetics and help people with unusual abilities learn control. Maya feels a flicker of hope. So there might be a way to fix this? There might be a way to manage it, Sam corrects. Maya, what you are isn't something that needs to be fixed. It's something that needs to be understood. Before Maya can respond, her enhanced hearing picks up the sound of cars approaching the pack house. Multiple cars, moving fast. Kieran's head snaps up. We have visitors. Good visitors or bad visitors? Maya asks, though she's pretty sure she already knows the answer. Unknown visitors, Kieran says, his voice taking on that alpha authority tone. Everyone inside, now. As they gather Sam's research materials and head for the pack house, Maya can't shake the feeling that whatever's coming, it's connected to her newfound conduit status. Sam, she says as they reach the front door, how did you find all this information so quickly? Sam's expression grows uncomfortable. I didn't just start researching this week, Maya. I've been studying our family's supernatural connections for 3 years. 3 years? Why didn't you tell me? Because I hoped the genes had skipped our generation entirely. I hoped we could just be normal humans living normal lives. Maya looks at her brother, really looks at him, and sees something she's never noticed before. Sam looks exhausted, but not just from lack of sleep. He looks like someone who's been carrying a heavy secret for a very long time. Sam, is there something else you're not telling me? Before Sam can answer, the front door of the pack house explodes inward.
Standing in the doorway are 3 figures Maya doesn't recognize, but their presence makes every werewolf in the room go completely still. Kieran Blackwood, says the figure in the center, a tall woman with silver hair and eyes like winter storms. We need to talk. Maya feels Kieran's tension like a physical thing. Counselor Frost? This is unexpected. I'm sure it is. The woman's gaze finds Maya, and Maya feels like she's being examined under a microscope. You must be the conduit. Maya straightens up, trying to project confidence she doesn't feel. I'm Maya, and you are? The person who decides whether you live or die, Counselor Frost says matter-of-factly. We need to discuss your situation. Maya looks at Kieran, at Sam, at the research materials scattered around them. I don't suppose we could schedule this conversation for next week. I'm still processing the whole descended from extinct magical bloodline thing. Counselor Frost's smile is sharp enough to cut glass. I'm afraid that's not an option, dear. The supernatural world has taken notice of you, Maya Chen, and they're coming.
Maya's life has officially entered what she's mentally categorizing as apocalyptic disaster movie territory, except the special effects are real and she's pretty sure there's no happy Hollywood ending coming her way. Counselor Frost settles into the packhouse living room like she owns the place, which, based on everyone's terrified expressions, she basically does. Her 2 companions, a man who looks like he could bench press a car, and a woman whose smile suggests she enjoys other people's pain, position themselves by the exits. Maya's starting to think this isn't going to be a friendly chat about her heritage. So, Counselor Frost says, crossing her legs elegantly, the last living conduit. How fascinating. Technically, I'm not the last one, Maya points out, because apparently her stress response involves being pedantically correct. Sam said there were 3 others in the past 6 months. Were being the operative phrase. They're all dead now. The casual way she says it makes Maya's blood run cold. Did you kill them? Goodness no, they killed themselves, in a manner of speaking. Power overload. It's quite messy, actually. Kieran moves slightly closer to Maya, and she can feel the tension radiating off him like heat. Counselor, Maya is under my pack's protection. She hasn't broken any supernatural laws. No, she hasn't, Frost agrees. But she also hasn't registered with the council, submitted to power assessment, or demonstrated that she can control abilities that could potentially level a city. Maya blinks. Level a city? Oh yes, dear. Conduits at full power are essentially walking weapons of mass destruction. The last fully mature conduit in recorded history accidentally created the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Maya looks around the room. Everyone is staring at her like she's a ticking bomb, which apparently she literally might be. That's ridiculous, she says weakly. I can barely control my strength enough to not break coffee cups. Which is precisely the problem. Untrained conduits are unpredictable, and unpredictable supernatural weapons tend to attract the wrong kind of attention. Sam steps forward, clutching one of his research folders. Counselor Frost, with respect, Maya's power levels are still developing. We have research that suggests proper training could... Mr. Chen, your research is fascinating, but irrelevant. 3 other conduits have manifested in recent months. All 3 received proper training. All 3 still died. Maya's stomach drops. How? Power feedback loops. Their abilities grew faster than their control, creating internal energy cascades that essentially burned them out from the inside. Frost's expression is almost sympathetic. It's not a pleasant way to die. But Maya's different, Kieran says firmly. She's already demonstrated more stability than... Has she? Frost's smile is sharp. Tell me, Maya,
What happens to your power when you're emotionally distressed? Maya thinks about yesterday's training session when she accidentally knocked everyone flat, about the surge of energy she felt when she imagined Kieran getting hurt. It gets stronger, she admits reluctantly, and less controlled. Yes. And what do you think will happen when you face real danger, real fear, real rage? Frost leans forward. What happens when someone threatens the people you care about?
Maya doesn't answer because she's starting to understand where this conversation is going and she doesn't like it. Which brings us to our current problem, Frost continues. Word of your existence has spread through the supernatural community, and not everyone views conduits as fondly as we do. Someone's coming for her, Kieran says. It's not a question. Someone is already here. The temperature in the room seems to drop 10 degrees. Maya can see her breath when she exhales. Who? Kieran's voice has taken on that dangerous alpha quality that makes Maya's spine straighten automatically. Fenris Grimm. The name hits the room like a physical blow. Several pack members actually take a step backward, and Luna makes a sound that's somewhere between a whimper and a growl. Who's Fenris Grimm? Maya asked, though she's pretty sure she doesn't want to know. An old-school alpha who believes the supernatural world should be ruled through dominance and violence, Kieran explains grimly. He's been building a coalition of traditionalist packs who think modern supernatural society has become too civilized. He's also, Frost adds helpfully, completely insane and absolutely ruthless. His pack specializes in acquiring powerful supernatural individuals for their own purposes. Maya feels sick. Acquiring how? Force, usually, though he's been known to make offers that are difficult to refuse. What kind of offers? Frost's smile returns. Join his pack willingly or watch everyone you care about die slowly. The room goes dead silent, except for the sound of Maya's heart hammering in her chest. She looks around at the pack members, at Luna, who's been patient with her training disasters, at Marcus, who's been grudgingly helpful despite his initial hostility, at Becca, who makes the best coffee Maya's ever had. When is he getting here? Maya asks. He's already here, Frost repeats. His scouts have been watching this territory for 2 days. I expect he'll make his move within the next 24 hours. Kieran's hands clench into fists. How many? Fenris travels with at least 30 pack members, all experienced fighters, all completely loyal to his cause. Maya does the math. The Shadowmere pack has maybe 15 adult members, and most of them are academics or researchers, not warriors. We're outnumbered, she says. Significantly, Frost confirms. So what do we do? Frost stands up, smoothing down her skirt. We have 3 options. Option 1, you come with me to the council facility, where you'll be kept in protective custody while we study your abilities and try to prevent you from having a catastrophic power overload. That sounds like prison with extra steps, Maya says. Option 2, you surrender yourself to Fenris, become part of his pack, and spend the rest of your life as his personal weapon. That sounds like slavery with extra steps. Option 3, she pauses dramatically, you stay here and fight. Try to defend yourself and this pack against overwhelming odds with power you can't control, knowing that if you lose, everyone you care about dies, and if you win by tapping into your full conduit abilities, you might accidentally level half the state. Maya looks at Kieran. Are those really our only options? There might be a 4th option, Sam says quietly. Everyone turns to look at him. What if Maya doesn't fight with her conduit abilities? What if she fights as a werewolf instead? Frost raises an eyebrow. She hasn't even completed her first transformation yet. But she has the genetic potential, Sam insists. The Blackwood bloodline, the pack bonding ritual, the mate connection to Kieran. She could theoretically channel werewolf abilities instead of conduit power. That's never been done before, Frost says. A lot of things Maya has done have never been done before, Kieran points out.
Maya looks between them. So the fourth option is to try something completely untested that might kill me in a different way than the other three options? Essentially, yes, Sam says. Maya starts laughing because the alternative is having a complete breakdown, and she's already done that once this week. This is insane, she says between giggles. A week ago, my biggest problem was figuring out how to afford ramen without asking my parents for money. Now I'm apparently a walking weapon of mass destruction, being hunted by supernatural terrorists, and my best plan involves trying to become a werewolf instead of a magical nuclear bomb. Maya, Kieran says gently, you don't have to decide right now. Actually, she does, Frost interrupts. My sources indicate Fenris will attack tomorrow night during the new moon when werewolf abilities are at their weakest. Why then? Maya asks. Because he's smart, Kieran says grimly, and he knows that our pack's strength comes from unity and coordination. During the new moon, those bonds are weakened. But Maya's power isn't tied to lunar cycles, Luna points out. She could theoretically be at full strength while the rest of us are compromised. Which is exactly what Fenris is counting on, Frost says. He wants Maya to use her conduit abilities. He wants her to lose control, because if she destroys this pack herself, he doesn't have to. Maya feels like someone just punched her in the stomach. He's going to try to make me kill you all. That would be the strategically sound approach, yes. Maya looks around at the faces of the people who have become her family in the span of a week. People who have been patient with her disasters, protective of her inexperience, and accepting of her chaotic presence in their lives. The idea of being the cause of their deaths makes something cold and furious unfurled in Maya's chest. No, she says firmly, that's not happening. Maya, Kieran starts. No, she repeats, standing up. I won't be responsible for getting any of you hurt, so here's what's going to happen. I'm going to learn to transform into a werewolf in the next 24 hours. We're going to figure out how to beat 30 experienced fighters with 15 academics, and nobody is going to die. Maya, that's impossible, Marcus says. A week ago, werewolves were impossible, Maya counters. I'm starting to think impossible is just another word for things I haven't figured out how to do yet. Frost looks amused. And if you can't learn to transform, if you can't control your abilities, if Fenris forces you to choose between using your conduit power or watching your pack die, Maya meets her eyes steadily. Then I guess we'll find out how much of San Francisco was really my ancestors' fault. The silence that follows is broken by Kieran's quiet laughter. What's so funny? Maya asks. You, he says, shaking his head. A week ago you were hiding from your problems on your couch. Now you're apparently a walking weapon of mass destruction, being hunted by supernatural terrorists, and my best plan involves trying to become a werewolf instead of a magical nuclear bomb. Yeah, well, you're a bad influence, Maya says, feeling her cheeks burn. The worst, Kieran agrees, and his smile makes Maya's heart do that fluttering thing despite the impending doom surrounding them. Frost clears her throat. This is all very touching, but we still need a concrete plan. The plan is simple. We have 24 hours to turn me into a werewolf and figure out how to win a fight we can't possibly win. How hard can it be? The expressions around the room suggest it can be very, very hard indeed. But Maya's done running from impossible situations. It's time to find out what she's really capable of.
Turns out, learning to become a werewolf in 24 hours is like trying to cram for finals, learn a new language, and master extreme sports all at the same time. Except if you fail, everyone dies horribly. No pressure or anything. Maya's been awake for 16 hours straight, and her crash course in supernatural transformation is going about as well as expected, which is to say it's a complete disaster, wrapped in good intentions and held together by stubborn determination. Focus on your breathing, Kieran says for the 100th time, his voice strained with patience that's wearing thinner by the hour. Feel the wolf inside you. I'm trying, Maya pants, sweat dripping down her face despite the cool morning air, but I think my wolf might be broken? Or maybe I'm just really bad at this. They're in the clearing where she first accidentally absorbed everyone's power during the worst CrossFit class ever. The irony isn't lost on Maya that she's back where it all started. Except now, instead of stumbling through a ritual she didn't understand, she's desperately trying to master abilities that might be the difference between life and death for everyone she cares about. "You're not bad at this," Luna says, though her encouraging tone suggests she's trying to convince herself as much as Maya. "You're just overthinking it." "I always overthink everything," Maya groans, flopping onto her back in the grass. "It's like my superpower, except completely useless." "Your superpower is being stubborn enough to make impossible things happen," Kieran corrects, settling beside her. "Remember what you told Counselor Frost? Impossible is just another word for things you haven't figured out how to do yet." Maya turns her head to look at him. Even exhausted and worried, Kieran manages to look unfairly attractive. His dark hair is messed up from running his hands through it, his shirt is torn from yesterday's training disasters, and there's a streak of dirt across his cheekbone that Maya has the sudden urge to wipe away. Instead, she focuses on the problem at hand. What if I can't do this? What if I'm just human with freaky conduit powers, and trying to force a werewolf transformation is going to get everyone killed? Kieran's eyes soften. Then we figure out another way. There is no other way. Frost made that pretty clear. Maya. Kieran's voice carries that alpha authority that makes her spine straighten automatically. "Look at me." She does, and finds herself caught by the intensity in his dark eyes. "In the past week, you've accidentally become the most powerful supernatural being in recorded history, survived power surges that should have killed you, learned to partially control abilities that destroyed 3 other people, and convinced a pack of werewolves to accept you as their Luna in training. You've done 6 impossible things before breakfast every day since you stumbled into our world." Maya feels something warm unfurl in her chest. When you put it like that, it sounds almost impressive. It is impressive. Kieran reaches over and brushes a strand of sweaty hair away from her face, his fingers lingering against her skin. "You're impressive, even when you're covered in dirt and complaining about your broken wolf." The moment stretches between them, electric with possibility. Maya finds herself leaning closer, drawn by something deeper than attraction. It feels like gravity, like magnetism, like coming home to a place she's never been before. Guys?" Sam's voice breaks the spell. "Sorry to interrupt, but we have a problem." Maya sits up quickly, her cheeks burning. "What kind of problem?"
Sam is holding his tablet, his expression grim. "I've been monitoring supernatural chatter online, trying to get intel on Fenris's movements. The good news is, I found some useful tactical information." "And the bad news?" Kieran asks, though his tone suggests he already knows he's not going to like the answer. "The bad news is, Fenris isn't just coming for Maya. He's coming for you too, Kieran." Maya feels ice settle in her stomach. "What do you mean?" "According to what I'm seeing, Fenris has been telling other packs that Kieran is harboring a dangerous conduit and refusing to hand her over to proper authorities. He's framing this as a rescue mission to save the supernatural community from a rogue alpha who's putting everyone at risk." "That's ridiculous," Luna says immediately. "Everyone knows Kieran would never—" "Everyone who knows Kieran personally, sure. But Fenris is good at propaganda. He's been building support by claiming that modern alphas have gone soft, that they're more concerned with human integration than supernatural safety." Maya's blood runs cold. "So he's not just coming for me. He's coming to make an example of both of us." "It gets worse," Sam continues grimly. "If Fenris kills Kieran in combat and claims you, he doesn't just get a powerful weapon. He gets legitimacy. Other traditional packs will see it as proof that his way is the right way." Maya stands up abruptly, pacing to the edge of the clearing. "So we're not just fighting for our lives. We're fighting to prevent Fenris from starting some kind of supernatural civil war?" "Essentially, yes." "Great. Fantastic. Perfect." Maya runs her hands through her hair, tugging at the strands in frustration.
Is there any other apocalyptic pressure you'd like to add to this situation? Maybe the fate of humanity hanging in the balance? Nuclear war? Alien invasion? Maya, Kieran says calmly. Breathe. Don't tell me to breathe, Maya snaps, spinning around to face him. We have less than 8 hours before Fenris shows up with 30 trained killers. I still can't transform into a werewolf, and apparently if we lose, the entire supernatural world descends into chaos. The anger feels good, clean and sharp and focused. Maya lets it fill her, lets it burn away the fear and uncertainty that have been eating at her all day. I refuse to be responsible for that, she continues, her voice rising. I refuse to be the reason people die, and I refuse to be the excuse Fenris uses to tear apart everything Kieran has worked for. As she speaks, Maya feels something shift inside her, like a door opening in a room she didn't know existed. The anger transforms, becomes something wilder and more primal. Her skin feels too tight, her bones ache, and there's a strange pressure building behind her eyes. Maya, Luna says carefully, your eyes. What about my eyes? They're glowing, Kieran says, and there's something like wonder in his voice. Maya looks down at her hands and sees her fingernails have become claws. But these aren't the terrifying conduit manifestations she's been struggling with all week. These feel right, like they belong to her. Oh, she says, and her voice comes out rougher than usual. Oh, that's different. The transformation ripples through her gradually, not the explosive change she's been trying to force, but a natural shift from one form to another. Her muscles strengthen, her senses sharpen, and suddenly she can smell everything. The pack's individual scents, the approaching storm, the lingering traces of Fenris's scouts who have been watching from the tree line. When the change completes, Maya looks at herself in wonder. She's not fully wolf, but she's not entirely human either. She's something in between, something that feels perfectly balanced. I did it. I actually did it. You did it, Kieran confirms, and his smile is brilliant. How do you feel?
Maya takes inventory. She feels strong, but not overwhelmingly so. Powerful, but in control. Connected to the pack in a way that's warm and reassuring instead of invasive. I feel like myself, she says in surprise. But also like more than myself. That's exactly what it should feel like, Luna says, grinning. Maya, that was incredible. Most werewolves take months to achieve that kind of controlled partial transformation. Really? Really, Kieran confirms, moving closer. You're not just any werewolf, Maya. You're something completely new. He reaches out to touch her face, running his thumb along her cheekbone. Maya can feel the mate bond humming between them, stronger now that she's accessed her wolf form. We're going to win this, Kieran says quietly, and for the first time since Frost delivered her ultimatum, Maya believes him. Yeah, I agree, feeling her confidence settle like armor around her shoulders. We are. Sam clears his throat. Not to interrupt this beautiful moment, but we still need a battle plan. Maya grins, and she can feel her slightly elongated canines with her tongue. I have some ideas about that. Oh no, Luna mutters. She has that look again. What look? Maya asked innocently. The same look you had right before you accidentally leveled half the forest during training. Hey, that was a learning experience, Maya protests. Besides, this time I have better control. This time you're planning something completely insane, aren't you? Kieran asks, though he's smiling. Maybe a little insane. But here's the thing about fighting someone who expects you to lose control. They don't know how to handle it when you're perfectly in control instead. She looks around at the pack members who have gathered to watch her breakthrough moment. Marcus, who's been skeptical but fair. Becca, who makes incredible coffee and terrible jokes. Tom and Sarah, the young couple who joined the pack last year. Luna, who could have hated Maya but chose to help her instead. Her family, her pack, her people. Fenris is expecting a conduit who can't control her power and a pack that's too civilized to fight dirty.
He's not expecting a werewolf who used to be a conduit and knows exactly how dangerous supernatural abilities can be. "What are you thinking?" Kieran asks. Maya's smile turns predatory. "I'm thinking it's time to show Fenris exactly what happens when you threaten the people I love." The mate bond flares between her and Kieran at the word love, and Maya realizes she's just made a declaration she wasn't planning to make. But looking at Kieran's expression, surprise melting into something warm and fierce and absolutely certain, she realizes she doesn't want to take it back. "I love you too," Kieran says simply, and the bond between them solidifies into something unbreakable. Maya feels the pack's approval wash over her like a warm wave. She's not just their Luna in training anymore. She's their Luna, chosen and claimed and ready to protect what's hers. "All right," she says, shifting back to human form with an ease that surprises everyone. "Let's plan a war." Maya's brilliant battle plan, which seemed so clever 6 hours ago, is currently being tested by the harsh reality that plans and actual combat have very little in common. The good news is Maya successfully transformed into her werewolf form when the attack started. The bad news is Fenris apparently didn't get the memo about attacking during the new moon when everyone's powers are supposed to be weakened. "Why are they so much stronger than we expected?" Maya shouts over the sound of snarling and the crash of trees being used as weapons. "Because it's not a new moon," Sam yells back, pointing at the sky where a thin crescent of silver is clearly visible. "It's a waxing crescent. Fenris lied about the timing." Maya ducks as a massive gray wolf sails over her head, courtesy of Marcus throwing one of Fenris's pack members like a furry bowling ball. "Of course he lied! Why wouldn't he lie? Lying is like evil villain 101. She's discovering that her werewolf abilities are incredible, but there's a steep learning curve between can transform and can fight 30 experienced warriors without getting everyone killed. It's like the difference between knowing how to drive and knowing how to win a Formula 1 race while being shot at. The Shadowmere pack is holding their own better than expected, but barely. Maya's transformation seems to have boosted everyone's abilities through the pack bond, which is the only reason they're not already dead. But it's still 15 academics versus 30 professional killers, and the math is not working in their favor. Maya parries a swipe from a massive black wolf, her enhanced reflexes keeping her claws attached to her body. She's gotten disturbingly good at violence in the past hour, which probably says something concerning about her psychological state, but she'll worry about that later when everyone isn't trying to kill her. "Maya!" Kieran's voice cuts through the chaos. 12 o'clock. She spins around just in time to see the biggest werewolf she's ever encountered stalking toward her through the battle. This has to be Fenris. He's easily twice the size of anyone else. His fur is silver-streaked with age, and his eyes hold the kind of ancient cruelty that makes Maya's blood run cold. But here's the thing about Maya Chen. She spent her entire life being underestimated, and she's gotten really good at using that to her advantage. Fenris shifts to human form, revealing a man who looks like he stepped out of a Viking nightmare. Tall, broad-shouldered, covered in scars, with silver-streaked hair and eyes like winter storms. "You're the conduit," he says, his voice carrying the authority of someone used to being obeyed without question. "I'm Maya, and you're the guy who's been sending scouts to creep on my pack for the past week? That's not weird at all, by the way." "Your pack?" He laughs, the sound sharp and mocking. "Child, you've been a werewolf for less than a day. These people aren't your pack. They're Kieran's charity cases who took pity on a lost human." But this time, instead of making her want to hide, the dismissal makes her absolutely furious. "You know what?" Maya says, shifting back to her hybrid form with a smooth grace that surprises even her. "I'm getting really tired of people underestimating me." She launches herself at Fenris with a speed that catches him completely off guard. Maya might be new to werewolf combat, but she's had a lifetime of experience being written off and overlooked. and she's channeling every moment of that frustration into her attack. Fenris recovers quickly. He didn't survive decades of pack warfare by being slow, but Maya has advantages he doesn't expect. She's unpredictable because she doesn't know the rules everyone else follows. She's creative because she's desperate. And she's absolutely furious because he threatened the first group of people who've ever made her feel like she belongs somewhere. They clash in the center of the clearing, and Maya realizes this is nothing like the training sessions with Kieran. This is brutal, vicious, and completely without mercy. Fenris isn't trying to teach her or help her improve. He's trying to kill her as efficiently as possible. But Maya has spent her whole life being an expert at surviving things that should have broken her. And apparently, that skill set translates surprisingly well to supernatural combat. She manages to rake her claws across Fenris's shoulder, drawing first blood. He snarls and backhands her with enough force to send her flying into a tree. Maya hits hard enough to crack the trunk, and for a moment her vision goes white with pain. "Stay down, little conduit," Fenris calls out. "This doesn't have to be more painful than necessary." Maya spits out blood and pushes herself to her feet. "First of all, I told you my name. Second of all, I don't stay down. It's like my whole thing." She can hear Kieran fighting somewhere behind her, the sound of snarls and impacts that suggest he's facing multiple opponents at once. The pack bond is buzzing with pain and desperation, and Maya realizes they're losing. Fenris is right. They're outmatched, outnumbered, and running out of time. Which is when Maya remembers that she's not just a werewolf. She's a conduit who learned to be a werewolf. And maybe it's time to stop thinking of those as two separate things. "You want to see something really impressive?" Maya asks, standing up straighter despite the pain shooting through her ribs. "What are you doing?" Fenris demands, but there's something like uncertainty in his voice now. Maya reaches deep inside herself, past the werewolf strength, past the pack bonds, to the core of power that's been humming beneath everything else. But instead of letting it explode outward like she did during training, she channels it through her werewolf form, using her new supernatural control to direct the energy exactly where she wants it. The result is something that's never existed before. A werewolf powered by conduit abilities, with the control of the wolf form tempering the raw destructive force of the conduit power. Maya feels her strength multiply exponentially. Her claws become sharp enough to cut through steel. Her speed increases until she's moving faster than the eye can follow. And her senses expand until she can track every member of both packs simultaneously. But the most important change is that she doesn't lose control. The werewolf transformation keeps her grounded, keeps her connected to her pack, keeps her focused on protection instead of destruction. "Impossible," Fenris breathes. "You keep using that word," Maya says, grinning to show off fangs that now gleam with supernatural energy. "I don't think it means what you think it means." She moves. Fenris is fast, but Maya is faster now. He's strong, but she's channeling the combined power of werewolf abilities and conduit energy. He's experienced, but Maya is fighting for people she loves, and that makes her dangerous in ways that can't be taught. The fight that follows is brutal and brief. Maya doesn't toy with him or draw it out. She's learned from every movie action she's ever watched that monologuing is how villains lose. Instead, she systematically dismantles his defenses, using her new hybrid abilities to overwhelm his centuries of combat experience. When Fenris finally goes down, his defeat sends a shockwave through his pack that Maya can feel through her enhanced senses. Without their alpha's dominating presence, they lose coordination, lose focus, lose the unified aggression that made them so dangerous. The battle doesn't end immediately. There are still individual fights happening throughout the clearing, but Maya can feel the tide turning. Her pack is wounded but alive, and Fenris's followers are starting to retreat. "It's over," Maya calls out, her voice carrying across the battlefield with supernatural authority. "Fenris is down. Anyone who wants to keep fighting can deal with me directly." The remaining members of Fenris's pack look between their fallen alpha and the small woman crackling with barely contained power and apparently decide that discretion is the better part of valor. They fade back into the forest, carrying their wounded with them. Maya lets them go. She's not interested in conquest or domination. She just wanted them to stop threatening her people. Speaking of which, Kieran! Maya spins around, searching for her mate through the aftermath of the battle, She finds him near the edge of the clearing, bleeding from multiple wounds, but alive and standing. He looks at her with an expression of wonder and something that might be awe. "That was," he starts. "Completely insane?" Maya suggests, shifting back to human form. The transition is easier now, more natural, though she's exhausted in a way that goes bone deep. "I was going to say incredible," Kieran corrects, moving toward her. "Maya, what you just did, combining conduit power with werewolf abilities, it shouldn't be possible." "Yeah, well, we've established that I have a complicated relationship with the word impossible," Maya says, then promptly sits down hard as her legs give out. "Also, I think I might have used up all my energy for the next week." Kieran reaches her just as she starts to topple over, catching her against his chest. "You did it," he murmurs into her hair. "You saved everyone." Maya looks around at her pack, battered, bloody, but alive and safe, and feels something settle deep in her chest. For the first time in her life, she's succeeded at something that actually mattered. She protected people she cares about. She kept her promises. She didn't give up when things got hard. "We did it," she corrects, "because she couldn't have won alone. We're a pack. We do things together." "Even the impossible things?" Kieran asks, smiling despite his injuries. "Especially the impossible things," Maya confirms, then promptly passes out in his arms from exhaustion. But she's smiling as consciousness fades, because for once in her life, Maya Chen finished what she started. And she won.
Maya wakes up to the sound of someone crying, and for a horrible moment, she thinks they lost after all. She's in her own bed. Somehow she ended up back in her apartment, and every muscle in her body feels like she tried to arm wrestle a freight train. The crying is coming from the living room, soft and heartbroken in a way that makes Maya's chest tight with panic. Did someone die? Did her victory against Fenris come too late to save everyone? Maya forces herself to sit up, despite her protesting ribs, and staggers toward the sound. What she finds in her living room is Sam, hunched over his laptop with tears streaming down his face. "Sam?" Maya's voice comes out rough and scratchy. "What happened? Is everyone okay?" Sam looks up, and Maya sees something in his expression that's worse than grief. It's guilt mixed with terror, and it makes my stomach drop. "Maya," he says quietly, "we need to talk." "Where's Kieran? Where's the pack?" Maya looks around her empty apartment, suddenly aware that something is very wrong. "Sam, where is everyone?" "They're safe," Sam says quickly. "They're all alive. But Maya, what you did during the fight, the way you combined conduit power with werewolf abilities, I've been running calculations all night and..." He turns the laptop toward her, and Maya sees screens full of data that mean nothing to her but clearly mean everything to Sam. "What am I looking at?" "Energy readings from your transformation," Sam explains, his voice shaking. "Maya, when you channeled conduit power through your werewolf form, you created a feedback loop that shouldn't be possible." Maya sits down heavily on her couch, the same couch where this whole adventure started when she decided to respond to a fitness flyer. "Explain it to me like I'm 5. Remember what Counselor Frost said about conduits burning out from power overload, about energy cascades that kill from the inside?" Maya's blood goes cold. "Yeah. You triggered one last night. A massive one. But instead of burning out immediately like the other conduits did, your werewolf abilities are containing it. For now." "For now?" Sam's hands shake as he pulls up another screen. "The energy cascade is still happening, Maya. It's just happening slowly instead of all at once. Based on my projections, you have maybe 48 hours before your system can't contain it anymore." Maya stares at the screen, trying to process what Sam is telling me. "So, I'm dying?" "Yes." "In 2 days?" "Maybe less."
Maya laughs because the alternative is screaming. So let me get this straight. I finally figure out how to be a werewolf, I save everyone I care about, I find my mate and my pack and my purpose in life, and now I'm going to die anyway. Maya. And the really hilarious part is, it's because I won. If I'd lost to Fenris, if I'd stayed weak and useless like everyone expected, I'd be fine. But because I actually succeeded at something for once in my miserable life, I'm going to burn out from the inside like a supernatural light bulb. Sam wipes his eyes with the back of his hand. I've been working on solutions all night. There might be ways to slow the cascade or redirect the energy or what? Maya interrupts. You're going to cure something that killed 3 other people who had teams of supernatural experts trying to save them? I have to try, Sam says desperately. Maya, you're my sister. You're the only family I have left who actually gets my jokes and doesn't expect me to be perfect all the time. I can't just watch you die.
Maya looks at her brother. Brilliant, driven, perfectionist Sam, who has spent his whole life fixing problems and taking care of responsibilities that everyone else ignores, including her. Where's Kieran? She asks again. Sam's expression gets even more guilty. He doesn't know yet. What do you mean he doesn't know? I brought you here after you passed out. I told the pack you needed rest and recovery time, that you'd be back in a day or 2. I wanted to figure out how to fix this before you had to tell my mate that his brand new Luna is dying. Maya, if Kieran knew, he'd try to do something heroic and stupid. The mate bond means your energy cascade could potentially spread to him if you both burn out. Maya stands up abruptly, pacing to her window. Outside, the world looks exactly the same as it did a week ago, when her biggest problem was figuring out how to afford groceries. People are walking to work, cars are driving by. Life is continuing like the supernatural world doesn't exist. So what are my options? She asks without turning around. I'm still working on... Sam. Maya's voice carries some of the alpha authority she's learned from Kieran. What are my realistic options? Sam is quiet for a long moment. You could try to discharge the excess energy somehow. Use up your power reserves before the cascade reaches critical mass. That sounds dangerous. It would probably kill you instantly instead of slowly. Maya nods grimly. Option 2? You could break the mate bond with Kieran and distance yourself from the pack, remove all the supernatural connections that are amplifying the cascade. Would that save me? It might buy you more time, but Maya, breaking a mate bond after it's been completed, it could destroy you both emotionally, and there's no guarantee you'd survive the process anyway. Option 3? Sam's voice gets very small. You could accept that there might not be a solution, and spend the time you have left with the people you love. Maya turns around to face him. That's it? Fight and die fast? Break everyone's heart and maybe die slower? Or give up and die on schedule? I'm still researching, Sam insists. There might be something I'm missing, some combination of factors that could... Sam. Maya sits back down beside him. You're the smartest person I know. If you can't find a solution, there probably isn't one. There has to be, Sam says fiercely. You just saved everyone. You found your place, your purpose, your people. You can't die now. Maya feels something crack open in her chest, all the fear and grief and desperate unfairness of the situation hitting her at once. I finally figured out how to be strong. I finally found people who believed in me. I fell in love with someone who thinks I'm worth protecting. I became someone worth being, and now it's all going to be taken away because I was too powerful for my own good. Sam pulls her into a hug, and Maya lets herself cry for the first time since this whole supernatural adventure began. She cries for the life she's finally learned to want,
for the future she's going to lose, for Kieran, who's going to wake up tomorrow expecting to start forever with her. I can't tell him, she says through her tears. Sam, I can't watch him look at me like I'm already dead. Maya, you have to. The mate bond means he's going to feel it when the cascade reaches critical mass. If you don't tell him, he'll experience your death without warning, without preparation, without even understanding what's happening. Maya pulls back, wiping her eyes. So I have to choose between breaking his heart now or traumatizing him later. Yeah. This sucks. Yeah. Maya looks around her apartment, at the dishes in the sink she never got around to washing, at the half-read books scattered on her coffee table, at the life she was so eager to escape just a week ago. It seems impossibly precious now that she's losing it. I need to think, she says finally. Can you give me a few hours to figure out how to handle this? Maya, you don't have time to... A few hours, Sam, please. He nods reluctantly. I'll keep working on solutions. Maybe there's something in the old text about conduit werewolf hybrids that could help. After Sam leaves, Maya sits alone in her apartment and tries to figure out how to say goodbye to a life she's just learned how to live. The mate bond is quiet. Kieran must still be sleeping off his injuries from the battle, but she can feel it there, warm and constant, connecting her to someone who loves her not despite her flaws, but because of her wholeness. For the first time in her life, Maya Chen is exactly where she belongs, with people who see her value and potential instead of her failures and limitations. And she's going to lose it all, because she was finally strong enough to save it. The irony would be hilarious if it weren't so devastating.
Maya spends exactly 3 hours feeling sorry for herself, which she decides is a reasonable amount of time to mourn the loss of a future she'll never have. Then she gets up, makes herself a cup of terrible instant coffee, and does what she's apparently become good at, figuring out how to do impossible things. Here's what Maya Chen has learned about herself in the past week. She might be lazy, irresponsible, and chronically incapable of finishing Netflix series, but she's also stubborn as hell when it comes to protecting people she loves. And she's not going down without a fight. The mate bond starts humming with concern around noon, which means Kieran is awake and probably wondering why his brand new Luna has vanished without explanation. Maya can feel his worry through their connection, followed by growing alarm as he realizes she's not just sleeping off battle injuries. Her phone starts ringing approximately 30 seconds later. Maya. Kieran's voice is tight with barely controlled panic. Where are you? Are you hurt? Why aren't you at the pack house? I'm fine, Maya lies smoothly. Just needed some time to process everything that happened. Process what? Maya, you were incredible last night. You saved everyone. What's to process? Maya closes her eyes, memorizing the sound of his voice, saying she was incredible. She's going to hold on to that for whatever time she has left. Can you meet me at the clearing? She asks instead of answering his question. The one where we first trained? I need to show you something. There's a pause. Maya, you're scaring me. I know, just trust me. Can you do that? Always, Kieran says immediately, and Maya's heart breaks a little more. She hangs up and starts walking toward what might be her last conversation with the man she loves. Maya reaches the clearing first, which gives her time to practice what she's going to say, except every version of "I'm dying and there's nothing we can do about it" sounds terrible, so she decides to wing it. Kieran arrives running, which turns into a full sprint when he sees her. He reaches her in seconds, pulling her into his arms like he's afraid she might disappear. You're really okay? He asks, running his hands over her face, her arms, checking for injuries. I'm really okay, Maya says, which is technically true for the next 36 hours or so. Kieran's relief floods through the mate bond, followed immediately by confusion as he picks up on her emotional state.
Maya, what's wrong? And don't say nothing. I can feel that you're terrified and heartbroken and trying very hard to hide it. Maya takes a deep breath. Remember what Sam said about how my transformation was unprecedented? How combining conduit power with werewolf abilities had never been done before? Yes. Well, there's a reason it's never been done before. She explains everything. The energy cascade, the 48-hour timeline, Sam's desperate research, the complete lack of viable solutions. She watches Kieran's expression shift from confusion to horror to the same desperate determination she felt when Fenris threatened her pack. No, Kieran says when she finishes. Absolutely not. There has to be something we can do. Kieran, no. His voice carries alpha authority, like he can command the universe to give her more time. Maya, I just found you. We just found each other. I'm not accepting that you're going to die because you saved everyone. I don't think we get a choice in this one. There's always a choice. Kieran starts pacing, his mind clearly racing through possibilities. What about the council? Surely they have resources, experts who could... The council couldn't save the other 3 conduits, and they had weeks to work on the problem. Then we'll find another way. Maya, I refuse to lose you. Kieran, Maya catches his hands, stopping his frantic pacing. Look at me. He does, and she can see the exact moment he realizes she's not going to fight this anymore. You're giving up, he says, and there's betrayal in his voice. I'm not giving up. I'm accepting reality. Since when do you accept reality? You're Maya Chen. You turn impossible situations into Tuesday afternoon adventures. You don't give up when things get hard. Maya feels tears threatening again. This isn't hard, Kieran. This is impossible. And sometimes impossible actually means impossible. I don't believe that. I know you don't. It's one of the things I love about you. Kieran pulls her closer, resting his forehead against hers. Then fight with me. Let me help you figure this out. There's nothing to figure out, Maya says softly. But there is something else. She takes another deep breath, preparing to break both their hearts. I need you to let me go. Kieran goes very still. What do you mean? I mean, I need you to break the mate bond. Distance yourself from the pack connection. When the energy cascade reaches critical mass, if you're connected to me, it could kill you too. Maya, no. Kieran, please. I can handle dying. I cannot handle taking you with me. And I cannot handle watching you die alone. Kieran's voice is fierce, final. Maya, you're my mate, my Luna, the other half of my soul. If you think I'm going to abandon you when you need me most, you don't know me at all. It's not abandoning me, it's surviving me. Same thing. Maya tries to pull away, but Kieran holds her firmly. This is exactly what Sam said you'd do, something heroic and stupid that gets you killed for no reason. The reason is that I love you. And I love you too, which is why I'm not going anywhere. They stare at each other, 2 incredibly stubborn people who have found something worth being stubborn about. Maya can feel Kieran's determination through the mate bond, solid and unshakable. So what do we do? She asks finally. We do what we always do. We figure out how to make impossible things possible. Kieran, I'm serious. This isn't like learning to transform or fighting Fenris. This is supernatural cancer. I'm dying from the inside out because I was too powerful for my own body to handle. Then we find a way to handle it. How? I don't know yet. But Maya, look at everything you've accomplished in the past week. You went from human to hybrid conduit werewolf. You learned to control abilities that killed 3 other people. You defeated an Alpha who had centuries of combat experience. You've rewritten the rules of what's possible in the supernatural world.
Maya wants to believe him. She can feel how much he believes it himself, his absolute faith in her ability to overcome anything flooding through their bond. "What if we can't figure it out in time?" she asks quietly. "Then we face it together," Kieran says simply. "Maya, I've spent my whole life preparing to be Alpha, learning to make hard decisions and accept necessary sacrifices. But losing you isn't necessary. It's not acceptable, and I'm not going to let it happen without a fight." Something shifts in Maya's chest, the same feeling she got when she realized she had people worth protecting. But this time, it's the realization that she has someone willing to fight impossible odds for her. "Okay," she says. Okay, we fight. We find a solution. We refuse to accept that this is how our story ends. Kieran's smile is brilliant with relief and determination. "That's my Luna. I'm still going to die if we can't figure this out," Maya points out. "Then we better get to work," Kieran says, pulling out his phone. "I'm calling an emergency pack meeting. Everyone brings their expertise, their resources, their most creative ideas. We solve this together." "Kieran, what if—" "Maya," he cups her face in his hands. "You taught me that impossible is just another word for things we haven't figured out how to do yet. So let's go figure it out." Maya looks at this man who loves her enough to fight the universe for more time together, who believes in her ability to survive when she's ready to give up, who refuses to let her face death alone. For the first time since Sam delivered his devastating diagnosis, Mai feels something other than despair. She feels hope. "All right," she says, standing up straighter. "Let's go save my life." "Our lives," Kieran corrects. "We're in this together, remember?" "Together," Maya agrees, and means it. They walk back toward the pack house hand in hand, ready to do what they do best, turn impossible situations into victory against overwhelming odds. Maya Chen might be dying from supernatural power overload, but she's not doing it quietly. She's going to fight for every second of the life she's finally learned how to live.
3 months later, Maya is standing in the same clearing where she first accidentally became a werewolf, except now she's here on purpose and she's not dying anymore, which she considers a significant improvement in her life circumstances. The solution, when they finally found it, was so ridiculously simple that Maya is still slightly offended it took a room full of supernatural geniuses 18 hours to figure it out. The problem, Granny Blackwood had said during their emergency pack meeting, isn't that you have too much power. The problem is that you're trying to contain it all by yourself, which led to Sam's breakthrough realization that Maya's conduit abilities weren't meant to be stored in one person. They were meant to be shared. The energy cascade was happening because Maya was hoarding power that was supposed to flow through her pack bombs, not accumulate in her individual system. The solution involved Maya learning to be a supernatural battery instead of a supernatural bomb. Instead of containing conduit energy, she channels it, distributing power enhancements to every member of the pack through their bonds, while keeping only what her hybrid physiology can safely handle. It turns out being a conduit werewolf Luna isn't about being the most powerful person in the pack. It's about making everyone else more powerful too. Maya has officially become a supernatural life support system for 15 overachieving academics, and somehow this feels exactly right. "You ready for this?" Kieran asks, adjusting his tie for the 3rd time in 5 minutes. "Aren't you nervous?" Maya grins at him. "It's just the entire North American Supernatural Council coming to evaluate whether our pack's new power structure represents a threat to established supernatural society." "When you put it like that, it sounds so relaxing." Maya laughs and reaches over to fix his tie properly. Kieran, we defeated Fenris Grimm with 15 people and a Luna who'd been a werewolf for less than 24 hours. I think we can handle some bureaucrats. Some bureaucrats who could decide to classify you as a supernatural weapon and lock you in a council facility for the rest of your life. Hey, Maya catches his hands. That's not going to happen. How can you be so sure? Because, Maya says, grinning, I have the most persuasive argument in supernatural politics. Undeniable results. The council delegation arrives exactly on time, which Maya has learned is a supernatural authority thing. Counselor Frost leads the group, along with 5 other officials who look like they've never had fun in their entire lives. Counselor Frost, Kieran greets them formally. Thank you for agreeing to meet with us. Counselor Blackwood, Luna Chen. Frost nods to each of them. I must admit, when we heard reports of your unique resolution to the conduit crisis, we were skeptical. And now, Maya asks, now we're here to see for ourselves exactly what you've created. Maya exchanges a glance with Kieran. They've been preparing for this evaluation for weeks, but there's still something nerve-wracking about having your entire way of life judged by people who think innovation is suspicious. Would you like to observe a pack training session? Kieran offers. See how our enhanced bond structure works in practice? Please. Maya signals to the pack, and they move into their demonstration formation. What follows is 15 minutes of the most impressive supernatural teamwork the council has probably ever seen.
Marcus and Tom work together to lift a fallen tree that should require heavy machinery. Becca uses her enhanced senses to track movement patterns that would be invisible to normal werewolves. Luna coordinates a defense strategy that utilizes everyone's amplified abilities to create an impenetrable protective formation. And through it all, Maya stands in the center, channeling power to wherever it's needed most, adjusting energy levels in real time based on the pack's requirements. Fascinating, one of the council members murmurs. The efficiency is remarkable. Luna Chen, Frost addresses Maya directly. How do you manage the power distribution without experiencing overload? It's like conducting an orchestra, Maya explains. I'm not trying to play every instrument myself. I'm just making sure everyone has what they need to play their part perfectly. And the pack members? How do they handle the enhanced abilities? Better than we expected, Kieran answers. The power enhancement is gradual and controlled, filtered through Maya's hybrid physiology. No one experiences the dangerous spikes that killed the other conduits. Because you're not trying to make them into conduits, another council member observes. You're making them into better werewolves. Exactly. I'm not changing who they are, I'm just giving them more to work with. The council spends the next 2 hours putting the pack through increasingly complex scenarios, testing the limits of their enhanced bond structure. Maya's favorite is when they're asked to coordinate a rescue operation for multiple victims scattered throughout the forest. Her pack completes it in half the time a normal pack would need, with no injuries and perfect tactical execution. Impressive, Frost admits when they regroup. But we need to discuss the broader implications of your innovation. Such as, Kieran asks, though his tone suggests he already knows this is where things get complicated. Such as the fact that you've essentially created a new subspecies of supernatural being. Enhanced werewolves, powered by conduit abilities, led by a hybrid Luna who can redistribute supernatural energy at will. Maya feels her stomach tighten. Is that a problem? It depends, Frost says carefully, on what you plan to do with these capabilities. The same thing we've always done. Protect our territory, support our pack members, and live our lives without bothering anyone. And if other packs want to replicate your model, Maya looks around at her pack, at people who've become her family, her purpose, her home. The idea of other conduit werewolf hybrids doesn't scare her. The idea of other packs finding the same sense of unity and shared strength that her pack has found sounds wonderful. Then I hope they're as lucky as we've been, she says honestly. Frost raises an eyebrow. You'd be willing to help other conduits learn your techniques? If it saves lives and prevents supernatural civil wars, absolutely. Even though it would mean you're no longer unique? Counselor, I spent my entire life thinking I was uniquely bad at everything. Being uniquely good at something is nice, but it's not what makes me happy. What does make you happy? Maya looks at Kieran, at her pack, at the life she's built from the ruins of her old one. Having people who believe in me, having a purpose that matters, being part of something bigger than myself. And you believe other conduits could find the same thing? I believe everyone deserves the chance to try. The council members exchange glances, having some kind of silent conversation that Maya can't interpret. Finally, Frost nods. The North American Supernatural Council hereby officially recognizes the Shattermere Pack's enhanced bond structure as a legitimate supernatural governance model, she announces formally. Luna Maya Chen will be granted council advisor status, with authority to consult on future conduit manifestation cases. Maya blinks. Wait, what? You're being offered a job, Karen translates, grinning, helping other supernatural communities figure out how to integrate conduits safely. You want me to be a supernatural consultant? Maya asks incredulously. The same person who thought werewolves were a particularly intense fitness class? The same person who found a solution to a problem that's killed every conduit in recorded history, Frost corrects. Your inexperience with supernatural politics is actually an advantage. You're not constrained by traditional thinking about what's possible. Maya looks at Kieran. What do you think? I think, Kieran says, that you've spent your whole life being told you're not good enough at conventional things. Maybe it's time to try being exceptional at unconventional things. 6 months ago, Maya Chen was a college dropout living on ramen and Netflix, convinced she was a disappointment to everyone who knew her. Today, she's a hybrid Luna offering supernatural consulting services to the council that governs all of North American werewolf society. Character development, she's discovered, can be absolutely wild when you're motivated by the right things. All right, Maya says, standing up straighter. I accept the position, but I have conditions. Frost looks amused. Such as? Any conduit who wants help gets it, regardless of their pack politics or council standing. No one gets locked up or classified as a weapon without a chance to prove they can control their abilities. And I work with my pack, not away from them. Agreed, Frost says immediately. Anything else? Maya grims. Yeah, we're going to need a bigger coffee budget. Saving supernatural lives apparently requires a lot of caffeine. 2 hours later, after the council delegation has left and the pack has finished celebrating their official recognition, Maya finds herself back where this whole adventure started. On her couch, except now she's sharing it with Kieran, and her terrible coffee has been replaced by Becca's excellent brewing skills. So, Kieran says, pulling Maya closer against his side, how does it feel to be an official supernatural consultant? Terrifying, but also kind of amazing. 6 months ago, I couldn't finish a college application. Now I'm helping restructure supernatural society. Any regrets? Maya considers this seriously. Her life now involves regular life-or-death situations, supernatural politics, and responsibilities she never imagined she'd be capable of handling. Her apartment has been upgraded to accommodate frequent pack meetings. Her brother Sam has become the pack's unofficial supernatural research coordinator. Her parents still don't entirely understand what she does for work, but they've stopped leaving success articles on her nightstand. None, she says finally. I mean, I could do without the part where people occasionally try to kill me, but everything else, this is the life I didn't know I wanted. Good, Kieran says, pressing a kiss to the top of her head, because I plan on sharing it with you for the next 60 or 70 years. Only 60 or 70? That seems optimistic for people in our line of work. Fine. However long we get then. Maya snuggles closer, listening to the sounds of her pack in the kitchen, arguing about dinner plans and research priorities, and whether Marcus is allowed to use his enhanced strength to open stubborn pickle jars. Her family. Her home. Her purpose. A year ago, Maya Chen thought she was doomed to be ordinary in the most disappointing way possible. Turns out, she was just waiting for the right extraordinary circumstances to show her what she was capable of. And it turns out that what she was capable of was pretty much everything. Hey, Kieran, Maya says quietly. Yeah? Thanks for not giving up on me, even when I'd given up on myself. Thanks for teaching me that the best kind of strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up every time and bringing everyone else with you. Maya smiles and closes her eyes, surrounded by the sounds and scents of her pack, anchored by the mate bond that connects her to someone who loves her exactly as she is, while believing she can become even more. Tomorrow there will be new conduits to help, new challenges to face, new impossible things to figure out how to make possible. But tonight, Maya Chen is exactly where she belongs, with people who see her potential instead of her limitations, living a life that's messy and dangerous and absolutely perfect. She wouldn't change a single accidentally supernatural thing about it.